Hello and welcome to a new episode of Hallal and Kosher Coffee with me, Francis Peck. Let me quickly get to the boil. Let's say, of course, we're making for the first time an Arabic coffee from scratch, and we're doing that with 300 milliliters of water. Okay, getting that here. Water's here. So how this one works is easy. Just push start and it now should bring the temperature up to 93 degrees. It's quite incredible though that I've gotten this 2 years ago from this one, when he sent this to me from Saudi Arabia, and it's taking me 2 years to now come to this episode of making an Arabic nice cup of coffee. Of course, so we have the water boiling there. Now we need some coffee, and this is a special one as well. Oh, it has this easy way of opening up. This one is coming from Ukraine. Chevovich coffee. It already has a nice smell. Let's see. And I'm also happy to see that it's quite a light roast. It's not that dark of a roast. This is exactly what you need for an Arabic coffee. Actually, this is already kind of medium, so you could go for a very light roast actually. I'll go for 15 grams of coffee. Alright. On a fine ground. So there we go, 13 and almost there. So in Arabic coffee, usually, especially, so you basically have two variants. We're actually making the Saudi variant. You have the Turkish variant as well, which uses a different device for cooking, and you would usually have it on an open stove. All right. This is already at 67 degrees, so we should go quickly here. You see, I still have my easy presser grinder. It's still available at my shop, although this is really not a commercial video. The specific one, this video is concentrating on what we share as humans, not what divides or polarizes us, let's say, or put it that way. So as I was saying, I already have this. You see, I really now need to put in effort. Put it on a 7. Usually for an espresso I would go for 9, 10, 11 on the Easy Presso Jakes Pro. But now I really have to, and I have to be quick. Because it's already giving the signal, and I feel I'm nowhere yet getting through these beans. Oh my god, this is really building up an exercise. I think I'm almost there. The thing is, so at this point it already starts counting. It would be nice if it gives you a little bit of time of grinding your coffee. Because it's so quick. Of course I'm only doing, okay, we're there. So add the coffee. Yes, adding the coffee. That is what we're doing now. You see, I only filled it a little bit, so that means, okay, there we go. We've added the coffee. Yes, we've added the coffee, and I just push the button, hoping that it understands that I've added the coffee, and it's saying 16. I think it might be doing this kind of a soft boil for 16 minutes. During this time, I can go over quite a bit of details in this process, of course. So as I was saying, I got this 2 years ago, thanks to Deswin, who just as a gift sent it to me. So 2 years, that's like half the time it takes to steal an election back. It's a very long time to be patient for Desmond, for me to use his gifts. actually what it is meant for. In the meantime, I was so exhilarated with it. It's just such a beautiful object. It gives me the temperature indication as the temperature is rising, so I cannot set it to a temperature like 92 or 93 to heat the water up to that point, you know, and then use it for doing a Hario extraction at a certain temperature, or the Chemex, or the Aeropress, whatever kind of coffee brewing method I would be using. No, it would allow me to see how the temperature is progressing, and then if it's at that point that I wanted to use, take it off and then kind of apply it. So the reason I was hesitant to then do the Arabic coffee way, let's say, is exactly because it was such a nice process, and I was afraid that the taste of the Arabic coffee, which is nice when I'm preparing it, of course, would get stuck inside. So let's have a look now how that's actually looking. Alright, you see it is really boiling during this whole time, and of course here it's time, yeah, indicating the time, not the temperature, and the add coffee that came on earlier, and then at some point it should say add cardamom, and then at some point, of course, we should also be finished. So yes, adding the cardamom. I'm having to jump from one thing to another. Who would imagine that time might be passing so quickly as you're preparing? So, other ingredients, the cardamom. Let's open this up. I actually did already buy the cardamom at some point in the past as well, and then completely forgot where I had put it. And okay, opening it up. So the coffee is from Chefovich, of course, another region torn by war in Ukraine. You know, and all these things resulting from us focusing on the differences between us instead of the commonalities. Commonalities like having a shared passion for coffee, which is great. Okay, so what do we do with cardamom? So, actually, the funny thing is, this came with this kind of scoop, also indicating kind of in proportion how much coffee in volume you will be using and how much cardamom. So I really was looking on for recipes, and most of the recipes keep referring to volumes as you're making an Arabic coffee. But of course, I'm so geeked out on coffee and so used to being gram metric based that my head's not able to deal with it. So here I'm going for 3 grams of cardamom. So we had 15 grams of the coffee and now 3 grams of cardamom, and we're using the mortar and the pestle to, I hope, easily break this open. And actually what I don't really know at this point is, do you just get rid of those shells and use what's inside? I don't know, that seems more sensible to me, let's say. Not that I don't want to risk the kind of flavors that would get extracted out with this, but from the coffee roasting or thinking about cacao roasting perspective, you know, the chaff argument, let's say, would make me think like it's probably not used, or maybe it's an option. Let's say this is already, you know, okay, this is going good. So the main reason that I hadn't made it before, though I know exactly what Arabic coffee tastes like, as I have lived in Saudi Arabia for 2 years, is that it's so enjoyable using it as a water heater for my other coffee brewing methods. I was afraid the taste would get would stick to it. So we'll actually see if that's actually the case. But I know from experience, and the experience being my trip to the Dominican Republic this year, which at some point should also be featured in one of the videos. Over there, of course, we went and visited some tobacco fields, and I don't recommend smoking at all. This is definitely not a video to recommend. As you can see, I actually didn't, want to finish it. I did try it. It unfortunately did have some chocolatey feel to it. Unfortunately, because again, I should not recommend you trying it. You don't have to try it. I'm just a fool like that sometimes. But I wanted a souvenir, so and it was very smelly back then, and I had no better idea than thinking, oh, my empty thermos should be a good container to put it inside. Now, I have tasted this cigar forever since then. I still, maybe it's a placebo effect by now, but when I'm drinking just the water, not when I'm preparing a coffee with it, but usually I go to my work in the morning and I take hot water with me to make an AeroPress on the train, and on the way back I still have some hotish water, not that hot, that I then just drink. And during those experiences, I feel like I still taste the cigar, which is not ideal. So you can understand how I'm concerned that I'll now be able to use my Arabic coffee maker only for making Arabic coffee, which is perfectly fine. There's, the gooseneck alternative, more coffee, Western coffee oriented water heaters that I might then give a chance to try out and use them instead. Of course, I'm quite confident that in a few weeks maybe the cardamom will not stick as hard to the boiler as does the cigar to the Bialetti thermos, just to do a little bit of product placement. So at this point we have the cardamom in the kind of little seeds. I don't know if you use cardamom in your recipes other than coffee. It has this very distinctive smell, and it brings me right back to Jeddah, which was the region basically. It's actually the Mecca region where I was living. And this is just the smell. It's amazing how smells and memories are kind of linked together. And for me, this is part of my journey as a coffee person, entrepreneur, however you want to call me, let's say. So of course, the reason I wanted to do this today, I'm making it today, which is a quite peculiar day, a turning point in history, some might call it. It's basically a point where you just don't know what's going to happen. I think a lot of people here expect things to be worse. I just consider it just totally unpredictable. What will happen in this region here, Chevovic, or what will happen in Palestine and Israel. I find it totally, I have no clue. I just hope that they focus on what they have in common, and that is that coffee is both kosher and halal and kosher, whatever order you want to actually say it in. It doesn't really matter. The tragedy of all these, in both cases, it's brotherly people. Well, literally, well, figuratively. I mean, in this case, you kind of would misuse the terminology anyway. The same Slavic people on the one hand, Semitic people on the other hand. I mean, they're brothers with me as well, and sisters, and we're all one big family. And you know, this place we call home, it has other concerns than this than the reasons why we're actually fighting. Although maybe the reasons that we are fighting more, are we fighting more? I mean, I guess debate is out on that. Is that the planet as a whole is going through some rough times. I'm actually doing research on this, so there's maybe a lot of stories out there, and you know, I still have to further conduct research as well, but just as a 40-year-old something, by experience, I know it was very different growing up, at least the climate as we were experiencing that here. The frequencies of these extreme events happening was also just very much different. And at the garden we're actually working on, you know, one of the elements is protecting nature, protecting biodiversity, because it's scientifically it's indicated that more biodiversity means more resilience against climate change. It's already one thing, so it's a way of allowing us potentially to mitigate, because of course more biodiversity, more genetic species potential to be able to deal with changes that are coming our way, and that will only increase. And there's complicated questions having to do with that. Another big topic, migration, migratory species. So not migratory humans, but other species. And this has to happen with this climate change. If your local species are no longer adapted, it might be trying to keep a sinking ship afloat. So it might be good already knowing what external species, let's say to your local varieties or local species, are better equipped to deal with certain climatological circumstances, and give you crops to live from, an ecosystem to support all the other life you also need to produce crops, like pollination. So this is what we call ecosystem services. So we're not, we might be living in our houses of brick and stone, but that doesn't give you something to eat. Wow! Now it's the cardamom. It's really, this is the moment where it's really happening. Okay, and it's just on the timer. There we go. On the timer, it is just indicating 2 more minutes. So I guess I should give it just another. Okay, should I close it? No, it's impossible that it thinks that. Okay, no. So I guess the light just goes off at a certain time point, but this does kind of correspond with the recipes I have seen online. So let's just give this another look. Okay, so you see it's basically boiling this whole time, and what's amazing is that this whole time I have kept talking, which is always my aim. Although your aim is, I'm quite sure, is not to keep watching the whole video in its entirety. For me, the aim is kind of being able to guide myself through a process. And I thought, well, I knew this was going to be a long wait, because even though I've been using it as a regular water heater, sometimes when I'm doing other things, so I always saw the timer going down, and then it gave me these other kind of signals. So it's like 17 minutes, 18 minutes. Okay, I thought, let's just do a meditation session, for peace, a praying session, meditation session, whatever is your preferred method for wishing, not something just for yourself, but for wishing things get better for all of us. Wouldn't that be great? Not just for ourselves. So let's just have 1 minute of time hoping for a better world. Oh wow, that was amazing. How quickly time can pass. We're now ready to do some Arabic coffee tasting, and I can definitely tell the smell is like Arabic coffee. Okay, so let's see how this flows out. Alright, okay. So it is a bit darker. It's a bit darker than what I would expect there in Saudi Arabia, but the cardamom comes out, which is this. I mean, this is the one pity about the Arabic coffee methods, is that you don't really smell the coffee anymore. But it's, coffee definitely, definitely the kind of light roasting is just very healthy, 3-4 cups a day. But this, it feels like a health bomb. It feels like, I don't need to eat anything else. Although, to make it into a complete experience, this is actually necessary. And that is an Arabic coffee moment when I was in Saudi Arabia was only complete accompanied by dates. So you would take a sip. I haven't tasted the coffee pure, but it feels like it's a good quality coffee. Definitely. It's 100% Arabica as well. Real dates. These are super sweet, naturally sweet, which then does help. The cardamom doesn't make the experience sweeter. But the dates, wow, the dates, this combination. I close my eyes, I am back at Mecca. Well, I was never in the center of Mecca, not allowed. I was in Medina, where I was allowed, but takes me right back to Saudi Arabia. So to all the Arabic people suffering, all the Jewish people suffering, all the Slavic people suffering, my heart is with yours, and I hope your hearts can be with each other. So this was For a Moment of Peace. Thanks for sharing this moment with me, and hope to see you on the next episode.